Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TJ, and it's getting interesting. You see Troy's schedule, they lost to Appalachian State. So looking at the standings here, it's really close here. You can see Troy is 6-4, but 5-2 in the conference, 1-2 in the division. They just recently lost to Appalachian State. But look at this. I mean, we play Troy this week. So if they lose, we are now in a three-way tie for first place. And then look who we play last week of the season. We play Appalachian State. So there is a shot for us to still go to the conference championship. Texas State does play Troy. I don't know the tiebreaker rules in this game. I know the ones in real life, but I don't know how this game uses the tiebreaker rules, and it might be overall after the three. If we do end up having a three-way tie, I don't know how it's gonna work out. So our win versus Georgia State paid off, and Appalachian State ended up beating Troy, so it's pretty interesting, I can't lie. On the other side of the conference, look at this, it's interesting over here too. Navy is 6-2. Louisiana is now 5-2. Arkansas State is 5-2. They are in a deadlock for this side of the division as well. And it's going to be interesting because Navy does play Army to end the season. So that's going to be a rivalry game. Louisiana plays Middle Tennessee State and Louisiana Monroe. That's a rivalry game to end the season. Then Arkansas State plays Georgia State and Middle Tennessee State. So I don't know how this side of the conference is going to end up, but it's definitely interesting how this is going to wind up in the end. We are pretty much still in it. We're still in it. We're not far off. So it's tough because our last player of the game, as far as last game goes, Preston Mays and Cedric Granger both had strong games, but I'm going to give it to Preston Mays simply because it's not every game you get 2 interceptions, and to do it in a big game like that where we needed a win, it's pretty big. So I'm going to give it to Preston Mays. And on the offensive side, was there any debate about this one? Emilio Garcia, I mean, just throws were automatic. I mean, on the money, every single throw. So he gets the awareness boost as well. And I mean, I got to give it up to our offensive line. All of them are going to get a +1 in awareness as well. So I'm going to do that here because they protected our quarterback well. And it showed because in that game, we showed up. Our offensive line blocked pretty well, and they did a good job. So looking at this game versus Troy, this is a team that actually is in the middle of the pack in the NCAA. Kirk Herbstreit is going with them, but you can see they're not great at anything. They were just winning games. And here's the thing. If you look at their schedule, I mean, they weren't really, in close games at all. They've had a couple of close games. Mississippi State, they beat them 34-31. Southern Alabama, they beat them 36-25. Those were kind of close games. Georgia State, they lost 21-31. But then, there were a lot of games where it was just like a straight, it was just a blowout. Mississippi, they lost 0-55. ECU, they won 31-3. Louisiana, Lafayette, 35-7. I mean, some of these games here, I mean, it's just a weird inconsistency with this team. And I think we can maybe exploit that because we found some consistency here in the last 5 games. We've went 4-1 in this stretch. We started out 0-5, remember that. But I think we found some consistency. We've been able to play well lately, and especially our defense. Our defense has stepped up the last couple of games, only allowing 21 points. And you compare the last 2 games combined, albeit versus 2 teams under 500, we haven't allowed more than 21 points. And before that, we didn't even allow any less than 38 points. So, I mean, it's kind of a big turnaround for our defense. I like the strides we're taking. And we got 2 tough matchups coming up to end this season, Troy and Appalachian State. So looking at Troy's leaders, their quarterback is vulnerable. 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. If we force him to make mistakes, sending Cedric Granger on a lot of blitzes and getting them confused with Donnell Hudson on the outside and even Ryan Marshall sending blitzes, we can maybe force their quarterback Silvers into making mistakes, and he's proven that he can throw interceptions. So we need to stop this throwing attack. Their rushing attack too is not bad. Chun has ran for 793. So compared to them, I mean, we're actually pretty even on paper. If you look at our stats, Milam, I don't know how he's still in the lead, probably because he has more yards here, 1855, but Garcia's actually playing pretty well. And Yates has 9 touchdowns, 1 touchdown from double digits. Amari Manuel is definitely having a great season as well, 538. He's only a junior, so he'll be back next year. So let's get into this action, man. This is going to be a great game from start to finish. I'm excited for this one. So let's get into it. Let's get it. And we are now underway at Troy. Remember, these road games are going to be tough for us, especially versus these good teams. And Troy is no slouch as they get the nice kick return on that one. And this is senior day for them. This is their last game at home as Silvers comes out in the shotgun to start out this game, throwing across the middle. And Brandon Silvers gets broken up by Ryan Marshall. So on a 2nd and 10, here is Brandon Silvers from the shotgun, throwing to the outside this time and getting it to Johnson. And Johnson's going to get close to the 50-yard line. So here's Brandon Silvers. He's going to run a lot of these tricky motions and all that to throw the defense off. And speaking of throwing the defense off, there is Clark Quisenberry, their slot receiver and tight end. He gets open on that one. And look at that. All it took was a few plays, and Troy goes all the way down the field and gets in for the touchdown. So here's Emilio Garcia. Remember, he had that big 3-touchdown game in the first half last week. So I'm looking to build off of that in the first half. Maybe he's a first half quarterback. Maybe he gets hot in the first half and then kind of cools off. But I just need to see some consistency, especially versus this great Troy team, as here's Emilio Garcia getting pushed out of bounds, trying to roll out for the first down. So that's an early punt here for Coastal. So here comes Silvers back out on offense, finding his receiver Thompson, and Thompson's going down the sideline. But wait, there's a flag on the play. It's going to be illegal touching, so that play comes all the way back. So here comes Brandon Silvers here on a 2nd and 15, running another motion, but this time finds Quisenberry open across the middle one more time. And that's going to be another big play for Quisenberry early on in this game, as once again, here is Silvers finding Johnson breaking a tackle. And Johnson, another big gain by this Troy offense, as Silvers throws across the middle and Kevin Mejia gets in for a play at middle linebacker, and that was his moment to get an interception as Ryan Marshall comes in on a 3rd and 10, throwing the ball deep. And he can't drag the feet as Brandon Silvers overthrows his receiver by just a little bit, causing the receiver to not have any feet in bounds as Troy settles for the field goal. So now it's 10-0 here, and here's Cameron Yates getting the handoff up the middle for a 7-yard carry. So now on a 3rd and inches, you see this defense is swarming. They are in on every single play, but Cameron Yates does get the first down on that. So here on a 1st and 10, here's this pass rush. They're running a lot of stunts in this one as we do get the pass off to Cameron Yates. So now on a 3rd and 3, here's the pass rush one more time. And getting the tip there is the defensive tackle. So now that's going to be another punt for this Coastal offense as Troy takes back over, but nice defensive play that time by Donnell Hudson on the tackle for loss behind the line. So on a 2nd and 12, here is Brandon Silvers throwing across the middle, and who's open yet again? Thompson across the 50-yard line. Thompson and Quisenberry are just killing us up to this point as Brandon Silvers now trying to roll out, breaks a tackle, but throws across the middle, and look who it is. Nobody else but Emmanuel Thompson and Quisenberry. I mean, they are just killing us as Brandon Silvers now across the 30-yard line trying to throw the screen pass, but that time Norman is there for the tackle. So now here comes Silvers one more time, rolling out, and you know he can run a little bit, gives a stiff arm, a mean one to Norman as he picks up the first down. So now they're inside the 10-yard line. Here is Silvers from the shotgun. No pass rush to speak of. He has all day to throw and finds Emmanuel Thompson for the 8-yard reception on that one. and that is going to be a 17-0 early lead in the first quarter for the Troy Trojans. So now here is Mason Wynn back on offense, and Garcia's finding him across the middle for the 7-yard reception. But, I mean, you see this pass rush. It's in on pretty much every throw. So on a 3rd and 3, here is some more blitzing and nice blitz pickup that time by Felipe Cuzo. So now on a 1st and 10 here, still in the first quarter actually, here is Paco Ashton getting free and busting out a 30-yard reception that time and getting past the 50-yard line. So now on a 2nd and 10, a couple of plays later, there is the blitz. And that pass rush is lethal as they are sending blitzes left and right. And this pass rush is no joke as on the next play. A couple of plays later, I mean, they send no blitz on that one. And another punt by this offense as here comes Troy back out on offense. And here is Chun breaking a couple of tackles as Jordan Chun. And they are just doing work on offense, doing work on defense as we just can't find a solution to Silvers and this offense. But that helps. Frederick Billups there for the sack there. And now they're facing a 3rd and 5 as once again another conversion, and this time it's Quisenberry, 11 yards for the reception. So now close to the 50-yard line here on a screen pass, throwing it to Thompson, and these guys are just always open. Emmanuel Thompson, Quisenberry, whoever they want to throw to, they're picking up the yardage as Jordan Chun gets the 8-yard carry. So now close to the 35-yard line, the 30-yard line, here is Silvers on the quarterback keeper. He goes for 12. So now inside the 20-yard line, here is Silvers throwing to the outside. And these two guys, they just can't be stopped. We're playing man, we're playing zone. But Quisenberry, Thompson, and Silvers, I mean, this trio is just lethal in this first half as we cannot find an answer for them. So now here's our offense. We just need to play catch up here now because it seems like our defense just can't hold these two receivers down, as here's Emilio Garcia throwing across the middle, finding Mason Wynn for the 9-yard reception. So now on a 2nd and 1 here, 4 minutes left in the first half, and finding Paco Ashton for the nice 6-yard gain. So now 4 minutes left here now, 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. Here is Garcia rolling outright, throwing across to Cameron Yates, and nice catch that time by the big back. And you already know he can receive. He's not just a running back. So on a couple of plays later, here is Cameron Dixon getting the nice 17-yard reception. So now on a 1st and 10, throwing the ball deep this time, and that was going to be picked off. But the defender couldn't keep his feet in bounds, so gives us new life. So on a 2nd and 10, here's Emilio Garcia throwing across the middle, and look who it is. For his first game back, Sam Forbes gets the touchdown reception, and that's his first catch, and his first catch goes for a touchdown. And remember, he's been out with broken ribs the last 5 games, and he's finally back, and maybe he starts something as Anthony Lorenz gets in for the sack. So now on a 2nd and 17, here is Silvers throwing to the outside to his receiver, but that's not going to be enough for the first. So facing a 3rd and 6, here is Silvers. We got a spy on him to make sure he doesn't take off. And he throws across the middle. Ryan Marshall on the defense that time. So nice play on defense. As once again, here is Mason Wynn getting open. So maybe Sam Forbes did light a spark under this offense. He has been a missing element. And here is Cameron Yates getting the handoff. So now on a 3rd and inches, here is Cameron Yates once again getting a nice hole up the middle. So 8 yards up the middle for Cameron Yates, the senior. So now here comes Emilio Garcia out a couple of plays later. On 3rd and 11, this pass rush is just there often and early as they force the throw out of bounds. So now an early 4th and 11, trying to just get something going before half. But Paco Ashton can't get enough. That was actually a kind of a bad throw by Emilio Garcia. He should have led him up the field, but instead a bad throw forces the underneath throw. But right before half, they have 3 timeouts, but they choose to run the screen, and look who's there, Frederick Billups, for his 2nd sack of this half, and that's going to take us to halftime, 24-7. Can we come back in this second half? It's going to be tough because this defense is no joke, as Emilio Garcia starts out this second half throwing the ball across the middle, and that one's going to be incomplete. So now on a 2nd and 10, here he is finding Sam Forbes on the outside, and Sam Forbes is going to get off to the races as he meets a defender but drags him for another 10 yards and makes it inside the 10-yard line. So now here is Cameron Yates getting the handoff up the middle, out to the outside actually, and he's going to get met by a gang of Troy Trojans. Man, I mean, that was just like swarming as Emilio Garcia comes out on a 3rd and goal. And I mean, this defense, relentless, not giving anything up, not making it easy at all for this Coastal offense, as we have to settle for the field goal. But back out on defense is Coastal and Troy. I mean, we can't stop them. Here is Silvers giving the ball off to Chun, and this is a small win, getting them for a 1-yard carry. We haven't been able to have a 1-yard gain at all this game, as on a 3rd and 5, here is Thompson getting another reception. And I'm telling you, Quisenberry, Thompson, and these guys are just killing us on defense, as we do get the stop that time on the screen. So now on a 3rd and 9, here is Silvers from the shotgun throwing it out to Chun, and nobody's home as Chun has an open lane all the way to the end zone. And man, what a blunder by our defense. We send the blitz, and what do? They throw right to the zone we're blitzing from, and that is going to be a 31-10 deficit here for Coastal in this game, as Garcia just trying to make something. I mean, we need to put some points on the board, and we need to do it fast because our offense is not going. Our defense can't stop them. I mean, it's just a bad game all around as we go for it on a 4th and 1, and Cameron Yates gets stopped. Look at that defensive end. Look at that cheese. He got off of that block so fast and swept up Cameron Yates before getting the first down. And they're going to be set up with great field position as Troy. I mean, this offense just cannot be stopped as Johnson gets the ball on the outside. And this time it's John Johnson as he breaks a tackle by Orlando Norman and gets in for the touchdown. So it is 38-10. And we're just about at that point where we're about to pull our starters, as this Troy defense, I mean, they are just getting after the quarterback on a 3rd and 15. Another big sack, as, man, you can see, I mean, our offensive line is just getting eaten alive as Troy takes over once again with 2 minutes left in this 3rd quarter. Here is Chun, who already has a receiving touchdown, gets the carry, and he's a little bit shaken up on that one. So the backup running back comes in. Henderson on a 3rd and 1 breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle this time. Cedric Granger can't come up with it, and Jamarius Henderson gets a nice long gain on that one on a 3rd down carry. So here is Silvers one more time, but this time he can't escape Donnell Hudson, who's actually been on a sack streak a little bit, 3 straight games with a sack. So nice to see him going, as once again Silvers in the shotgun, 3rd and goal, having all day to throw, steps up in the pocket, and look who he finds. No surprise here, Emmanuel Thompson, as he gets in for the touchdown. And now it is 45-10. We're going into the 4th quarter. We sub in both of our 2nd team offenses and our 2nd team defenses, as we just want to see what we have on the rest of our roster, because I think this season, it isn't over, but our hopes at going to a conference championship, I think, are pretty much over, as Troy looks like they have a clear path now to get to that conference championship game. So I want to see what Curtin has. What does Kashawn Curtin have? Because we've seen him in spurts. We've seen him play in the later parts of the game, but I want to see a whole quarter. What can he do? So here comes the redshirt freshman out on a 2nd and 2, throwing deep to Max Moriarty, and nice pitch and catch by two guys who are actually going to probably be doing a lot of this. The redshirt freshman Kashawn Curtin getting it to the sophomore Max Moriarty, and you can see him. He's in line to start next year. He and Cameron Dixon are definitely probably going to be competing for that starting tight end position. As you see, he has 9 receptions on this season, 90 yards, and that's going to be a duo to look out for. So now on a 1st and 10 after a nice throw by Kashawn Curtin on that one, throwing to Moriarty. But look at that hit he takes. I mean, straight gets laid out on that one.
My God.
And what a way to set up your future pass catcher, getting lit up on that one. So here is Sam Forbes on the end around. Can't get anything going. So now on a 3rd and 10, here's Kashawn Curtin from the shotgun. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in this second half, and throwing across the middle. That's the inaccuracy he's going to have to work on. That was a kind of a really, really bad throw, but we do settle for the field goal. So now back out on defense here with this second team defense. Here is Silver still in the game. He gets a nice 10-yard carry, but not before he gets almost a 1st down. So on a 2nd and inches, here is Jordan Chun getting the handoff, and he's actually met by maybe the future at middle linebacker, Jamal Williams. He's a junior. He hasn't gotten in much this year, but he's in line to be next to Ryan Marshall at the middle linebacker position come next year. So now on a 3rd down, here is Silver's throwing to the outside. So now we force a punt. Small win that time by our second team defense. As now Kashawn Curtin comes back out. Can he make a last drive to put points on the board before this game ends? Here he is giving it to Felipe Kuzo on the counter, and the senior picks up the 1st down. So now Kashawn Curtin, 1st down, 3 minutes left in this game. Here he is rolling out to the right, trying to throw the ball away, but gets hit trying to throw it away. It looked like he pump faked on that one instead of throwing the ball away. Maybe just a freshman mistake on that one. So here is Kashawn Curtin this time. Here's the flashes that I like to see. He has inaccuracy. His attributes aren't really high as far as accuracy goes. I believe he's got 68 accuracy, but he makes those flashy throws. You can see the potential here with this guy. I mean, he can run the ball too, so it's good to see him make these great throws as Felipe Kuzo gets a nice 14-yard counter. So on a 1st and 10 here, a minute 40 left in this game. Here's Kuzo one more time, taking a big hit, but getting nice 6 yards on that one. So here's Javier Garcia coming into the game, and this is a guy that I want to take a look at. He's going to be in line to compete for the starting running back position with Jimbo Brown, the redshirt freshman who's coming out of his redshirt season next year, and then also Keith Syracuse Jr., who's going to be a sophomore come next year. So here is Cameron Dixon getting the nice catch this time on the outside from Kashawn Curtin. So now 40 seconds left here in this game. Here is Kashawn Curtin from the shotgun one more time, throwing across the middle. That one probably should have been on target. Zach Zorzula was open in the end zone, but overthrown by Kashawn Curtin. So now on a 2nd and 10, here he is finding Cameron Dixon, who I said is going to be competing for that starting tight end position versus Moriarty. So now on a 3rd and 1, giving it to Garcia, but Garcia is met by this defensive line who's just been shredding our offensive line up to this point. So now on a 4th and 2, trying to pick up the 1st down, and nope, we can't get there as Kashawn Curtin gets swallowed up by this defense. And that's kind of been the story of the game as Troy straight puts the whooping up on us. I mean, look at this. I mean, we actually didn't have a bad day throwing the ball. We didn't turn the ball over, but it's just we couldn't move the ball. I mean, this team was just all over us from start to finish. Sam Forbes goes over 100 yards in his first game back, and pretty much he was the only bright spot on our offense, with Paco Ashton getting about 7 receptions for 62 yards. But on the defensive end, we didn't do too bad. But I mean, it's just that our offense we couldn't score. I mean, our defense, we couldn't keep up with their athletes. I don't think we had a bad game. I just think they had better athletes just better players. I mean, that's the thing. We just need to get better to compete with these good teams. I mean, Troy compared to Georgia State and Texas State, I mean, it's just night and day. I mean, these athletes are way better than us. But I think it's something to build on. It builds character. We get to see, how we measure up against these good teams. So we want to keep our heads up heading into the last game of this season. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Next episode, we get to see a lot of the young guys. So you don't want to miss that next game. And we get to see the seniors for the last time. So you don't want to miss that game. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.